So I decided I need to go ahead and watch this Fear Street Prom movie because I saw that there was a lot of I'd say more so on the negative side, and it's weird. I think if you're like me, whenever movies tend to get worse reviews as opposed to positive reviews, you're more inclined to want to see it. I think because if you're cynical like me, you just don't believe it when people say something is great, but you will believe it when people say something is bad. I don't know. Maybe that's just the way I'm wired. It may be because of the way just the world is today. Every bad sells, right? Everything bad sells. But I wanted to watch this movie, and I almost didn't want to review it. But man, I really feel like I need to say something about this film. So that's what this video is going to be. And I watched those Fear Street movies that came out maybe a year or 2 years ago, and I think there were three of them. I think there was one that was like 90s, 70s, and then one that was way older than that. And it's interesting, like Fear Street, I mean, I remember those books, and I'm pretty sure I actually read a couple of them when I was a kid, because I think that was like R.L. Stein. And I mean, obviously he's known for Goosebumps, but like the Fear Street stuff, I can't remember if it was before or after. I feel like it was before. But, I remember like hitting that wave of nostalgia when I learned that there was going to be Fear Street stuff because I mean, that's classic to me. Like I said, I remember being in the library and seeing the books, and it's such a great title, Fear Street. I like it almost as much as Goosebumps. Like Goosebumps is a great title, but Fear Street is a great freaking title. I love the title. And going into these movies, like what I want to say about the new one also pertains to these, but like I'll just say this: when I was watching the Fear Street movies, I thought the first one that came out was good. I thought the one after that was probably a little bit better, and then the third one, I thought it was good, but I also was probably a little worn out by that point too, because I think they dropped them like once a week or something like that. Which, with TV shows and episodes, that makes sense, but movies, I would really have waited like a month because movies they stick with you for a while, and you just consumed an hour and a half of a film start to finish, and I think doing them week to week is a little too exhausting and make people get burned out faster than you probably think they would. But yeah, going back and watching those movies, I watched them maybe like 2 or 3 months ago because I knew that the new one was coming, ironically, and here I was thinking I wasn't going to watch the new one, and I thought they were good, but it's funny. It's like I was a '90s kid, so I can't even really speak to this in an authentic sense. But I feel like these movies that are coming out now, and I think a lot of this started with Stranger Things. And I'm not saying that there wasn't something else before that kind of did this, but I think Stranger Things blew the lid off of like this '80s kind of stuff. I feel like the version that we see in these kinds of movies, these Fear Street movies, that even in Stranger Things to a certain extent, I feel like it's a sensationalized, really happy looking version of the '80s when even though I wasn't around, I mean, I watched movies that were legitimately made back then, and there are some movies like Basket Case, for instance, that was shot just in New York, and that movie, none of these films have that kind of feel. And maybe that's not the point. Maybe the point is to make this bubbly, fun, just really sensationalized feel of the '80s. I'm not saying that they're not authentic in any way. Like I said, there are people that are older than me that can really speak to it, but it's just like I've watched 1,000 movies from the '80s that were actually shot then, and there's this weird feeling that like it's not even AI maybe a hard stretch, but it does feel artificial, I guess. And I guess naturally so. They're not made in the '80s, they're made today. Prom Night 1, it's pretty straightforward. It's simple. This girl is up to be prom queen, but of course she's kind of like the reserved kind of girl. She almost has like the Alice from Part 4 personality. And I'll say this, I don't like talking about this because I feel like it's the same cliches you hear in every freaking review, but the character of this girl, I didn't mind her at all. I actually liked that she was not standoffish kind of quiet. Like she actually seemed like somebody that would be nice to you and talk to you if you approached her and stuff like that. So the performance of that stuff was nice. But this one, you got her going up to be the prom queen, but there's the bully girls that are also trying to be prom queen too. She has a dark past with her parents. Her father was killed. People thought the mom did it at the homecoming dance, and it caused a huge stir. And of course, now she's dealing with that and the ramifications of that. And she's kind of like, the middle class working girl. She's got the job at the diner while the other girls are going in there and just kind of laughing at her because she's working. A lot of the stuff you have seen 1,000 times before, and I'm not gonna really fault that with this movie, because honestly, I don't think they were trying to do anything to really break new ground. I really think these Fear Street movies are just 80s horror candy that they're trying to do. But there's things that I'm seeing people say that I definitely want to comment on. And so the whole movie revolves around, when we're getting down to the nitty gritty of the night of the dance. People start getting taken out left and right. It's a murder mystery. Who's doing what? I will say that there's a couple shots in this that felt reminiscent of like a giallo type thing, where you see the killer's hand go out and reach to grab something and come back. Like, it felt very like those slight moments. I felt those cool little, Argento moments. I'm not saying that this film is anything like a giallo, so to speak, but this is something I kind of like. I almost wanted to roll my eyes at it, but I give them credit for this. They have the girl that's, our star of the film. She has the friend that's kind of like the horror fan, and I dig the fact that they didn't just throw up an Elm Street poster on the wall. Although I love Elm Street, they put a Lucio Fulci zombie poster up in the girl's bedroom. She did have the decked out, wood panel walls and everything, and she was reading Fango. There was a movie theater scene where they were showing Phantasm 2 clips. What I do dig now, but I can feel that this would probably become an eye roll for people, is now that they're showing 80s stuff that horror fans are actually, I would feel would be like, okay, that's cool. I like that they did that, as opposed to just the biggest, stuff that's out there. Like the fact that it was Phantasm 2, I thought was really cool. The fact that it was a zombie poster was really cool. And it looked like they actually gave the girl a legitimate, real old Fangoria magazine from the late 80s that she was skimming through. And I also didn't make her obnoxious. She didn't talk about movies the entire time. Like, they made it known that she was a horror fan, but she wasn't saying, oh, this is just like in A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. But, like, I like that they didn't go out of their way to make it obvious, like, hey, we're trying to be cool for the horror fans. Like, they gave you a little bit of it, but they made the character not be obnoxiously, I'm a horror nerd. I've seen that done in other movies. Like, there was a movie called it wasn't a Silent Night remake. It was the movie that one director was gonna do as a Silent Night Deadly Night remake, and then it turned into something else with the robot Santa. The name of the movie simply, but you guys know what I'm talking about. There's a whole dissertation where they start talking about like Pet Sematary 2, and it's funny for a few seconds, but then it's just like, okay, we get it. Is that what we sound like? Thank God they didn't do that in this movie. The rest of the movie's fine. It's like, they did go out of their way to have really cool songs in here. Like I said, we're at that period now where they're trying to make all the music in here not just be songs from the 80s, big hits. They're trying to take a number of different songs, and they had some cool songs in here. It was nice hearing some mainstays like Billy Idol, but they had some, I wouldn't even say deeper tracks, but not like the most famous 80s songs on the planet in this. So, and like, again, there was classics like Cruel Summer from Bananarama in here, which was great, but the music was good in this too. This movie is fine. Inherently, I think top to bottom, this movie is fine. I don't think there's anything overtly bad about it. This is where I kind of want to talk about whether I like this film or not. I'll say this, and maybe you guys will agree, maybe you won't. If this movie would have came out first, before all the Stranger Things and before all the other Fear Streets and before Summer of '84, I actually think people would go freaking nuts for it. I think the problem we're facing now is these kinds of movies, these post Stranger Things 80s kind of sensationalized, like poppy looking films. I think people are burnt out on them. I really do. And I think it's when you're kind of like the transcender, like a Stranger Things, you can escape that kind of notion. So, like, I still think people are going to be really excited for Stranger Things season 5, I think is what's coming out soon. But, like, when you get all these movies that want to do the same kind of thing and that have that look and feel, I think people are just kind of burnt out on it. And it's kind of a shame because part of me thinks I'd probably like this Prom Night one more than the other three Fear Streets that came out. So I don't know. I can't say that I dislike this film, but I also can't say, oh my God, this is great, because I feel the burnout too, in a sense. And I don't know if that's what everybody's feeling, but I definitely feel the burnout. So I guess I'm just going to give this movie, I'll give it three stars out of five. It's fine and probably a little more fun than the other ones, quite frankly. So there you have it. I kind of wanted to do this review because I wanted to say that I really do think that people are that we need a new transcending kind of vintage thing, whatever that might be. Because I get it, people love horror movies that have that vintage feel. I do too, but we need to explore something different now. And I don't know what that is, but I have a feeling it's going to come soon, whatever it is. But there we have it, guys. I'll give this movie a thumbs up, but other than that, it's just like I see why some people are saying like predictable, the same thing over and over again, because we're in a rut of these kind of post Stranger Things feeling movies, in my opinion. There you have it, guys. That's my opinion on this one. Let me know what you guys think down below. See ya. Huge giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind the scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.